It's finally time to find out what's in the ChilliChump Seedkit for 2022. My name is Sean, also known as ChilliChump, and I'm absolutely passionate about growing chilies and everything that goes along with that. So if you want to follow along with my adventures, make sure that you subscribe because there's some amazing content coming up. The ChilliChump Seedkit has been around now for a few years, and there's been some great varieties over that time. It has been such great fun having you guys grow along with me. It can be a bit one-sided when I'm making these videos and showing you my grow updates, but the Seedkit adds that element of interactivity. I'm able to see what you guys are getting up to, and you're able to compare notes with what you're doing. Now, 2021 has not been the best year in terms of my growing because of obvious reasons, and you can have a look back at some other videos. I'm not going to get into it all now. So that meant that I wasn't able to do as many things as I would have liked with the 2021 Seedkit chilies. I did put out a few decent recipes, so hopefully you enjoyed those, especially the habanero ketchup. That is a favorite of mine for many years, and also Mrs. ChilliChump. And hopefully you've tried that and it's something you'll be making in the future as well. But next year, every single chili in the ChilliChump Seedkit is useful in a culinary way. It's going to be good, and I'm really happy about that. In previous years, there have been some chilies which have just been a rarity or it's just for looks. This year, all 6 of the varieties are useful and tasty in sauce or in cooking and that sort of thing. Let's get straight into it. Let's talk about what chilies we have for 2022. The first variety is one I've grown for a few years now, and I love growing it. It is one of the earliest to fruit. Actually, I think it is the earliest to fruit for the last 2 years. I am always showing off how pretty these pods are. They are similar in look to a cayenne, but that's purely in the pod shape. In terms of color, very different. I'm talking about the Buna Mulata. This is such a cool chili. It starts off as a deep purple. It then goes through to an orange, and then there's a brown, there's some other colors in between, and eventually ends up red. Now, the good thing is not only is it a beautiful looking plant and also very early fruiting, but it is also very, very tasty. So I have actually been experimenting with a few recipes using the Buna Mulata because I have been growing it for a while and getting close to where I want it to be in terms of that recipe. And I will definitely be sharing that with you with next year's harvest. So that's number one. It's similar sort of heat to a cayenne. It's around about, 30 to 50,000 Scoville. But yeah, it's definitely one. If you haven't got it already, then for that one alone, I think the Seedkit is pretty awesome. Over the last couple of years, I've been developing 2 bonsai plants, basically bonsai chili plants. You just have them in a very small pot, which means I get to have chilies growing all year round. I get to take them indoors in the wintertime, and yeah, it's just great fun doing it. It's a nice little challenge, and they're beautiful looking plants, plus they produce pods. Now I mention that because the second chili on the ChilliChump Seedkits list is the Bird's Eye Baby. This is just a perfect specimen for a bonsai. So if you are interested in starting out with creating a bonsai, then this one will be perfect for that. Now, to help you along, Fatalii, who actually is how I learned how to make bonsai plants, he has a little booklet on how to make bonsais, and he's kindly offered us a discount code for all of you chili chumpers that if you want to go and buy the booklet, he's got a hefty discount on that right now. So I'll put it in the description below, but also it's sitting down here on the bottom of the screen. And yeah, thank you very much, Yoko. It's very kind of you. Now, the Bird's Eye Baby, not only is it a beautiful plant which is ideal for a bonsai because it's lovely and compact, tiny little fruits, but it also is a very tasty chili. This is very similar to the peri peri that I keep talking about. And what's nice about this, well, in my mind, because I haven't grown these yet, but in my mind, I envision being able to have a little bonsai plant on the windowsill in the kitchen and be able to just pick off a few pods when I need to cook up a peri peri chicken or something like that. Anyway, that's the idea in my mind. We'll see how that goes. But it is a beautiful plant. I have tasted the pods before, and very similar sort of taste profile to peri peri, but definitely has a lot of heat. I think it's around 50,000 on the Scoville scale. So that's number 2, a lovely little chili plant. Third on the list is the Bishop's Crown. Now, not only is this a fantastic looking chili, it actually looks like a little bishop's crown, but It is also a brilliant chili to make salsa with. I have a salsa recipe that I make that I use Bishop's Crown most of the time. There are some other chilies I'll use now and then, but the Bishop's Crown just tastes amazing in a salsa. So I will share that recipe with you next year. I am trying to figure out a sauce that works with Bishop's Crown. We'll see if I can get that right by next year. If I do get it right, of course, I will share it with you guys. The fourth chili is a sweet chili. It has no spice whatsoever. And that's not a bad thing. You know, it's great to use those sort of chilies to fill out your sauces, to add some bulk to it without losing, you know, the flavors that you want. It keeps that capsicum flavor intact. The other thing is it's just great to snack on them or have them in a salad. I'll often, when I'm in the greenhouse, I will just grab one of my sweet chilies and snack on it while I'm checking on the plants. So, you know, I'll always be growing some sweet chilies. Now, the one I've chosen is the Spanish Giant. This is a huge chili. Now, in previous years, I've had the poblano inside my ChilliChump Seedkit. Now, number one, I'm sure you guys have plenty of seeds for poblano. They're pretty easy to get hold of, so no point really adding it again to the seed kit this year. Also, I will be changing the competition. So I've done a competition with, you know, Grow the Biggest Poblano for the last 2 years. I will be changing that up a bit. It won't be poblano only. It'll be any chili you want. You can grow whatever variety you want. This Spanish Giant might be a contender. I don't know how heavy they really get, but I'll be trying it out and seeing what I can do. I'll explain more details in the, you know, what's going to change for that competition a bit later on in the season. But essentially, we'll be growing the biggest chili rather than the biggest poblano. So that's the Spanish Giant. It's going to look quite impressive inside the greenhouse, I think. The fifth chili in the ChilliChump Seedkit is one that people have been going a little bit crazy trying to get hold of seeds for this. And I understand why. It's a beautiful looking chili. I'm talking about the Sugar Rush Stripey. Now, Fatalii actually developed the original Sugar Rush himself. And the Sugar Rush Stripey is a hybrid that was developed by one of his friends, Chris Fowler. And, well, he's developed quite a few different varieties, but this is one of them that came from the Sugar Rush. And it's a beautiful looking pod. It's basically orange with little red stripes on it. Not only do they look really cool, but they are very, very tasty. Now, again, I have some recipes planned for that, and I will share that with you next year once I get a bigger harvest. I did actually grow them this year, but my harvest was tiny. I did get to taste them though, and they do taste very, very nice. The final chili in the ChilliChump Seedkit really brings the heat. What is a ChilliChump Seedkit without a super hot? Now, this one is a little bit special. It was developed by one of my all-time favorite growers, Troy Primo. He's the guy who developed the 7-pot Primo, and that is in my top 10 list of favorite chilies of all time. It is seriously hot, and if this one that we're going to grow is as hot or even comes close, then I'll be pretty happy. We're talking about the Big Black Mama. This is a cross between a Nagamoric and a 7-pot Douglas, and it looks amazing. Very gnarly looking pod, very large pods as well, and also it grows quite prolifically. I already have a few sources planned for that one, so yeah, keep an eye out. Next year is going to be a bumper one with that, I'm sure. There's a couple sources that I know that I'll do, and there's one other that I'm trying to work on to see how it's going to work with that specific pepper. I need to just get the flavor profile from it. There you have it, 6 varieties for the ChilliChump Seedkit for 2022. I hope that you guys are as excited about next season as I am. I cannot wait to fill these greenhouses up with chili plants. It's going to be incredible. Now, just a little bit of a teaser. There's something pretty special coming up. It's something I've been working on for the last year, actually a bit longer than that, but the last year I've really put a lot of effort into it. And I will be releasing this in November. Keep an eye out. I teased it a little bit on my Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and there'll be a few more teasers before it actually gets released, but it will certainly help you out with your growing season. Let me just give you that much information. Anyway, that's it for this video. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Until then, stay safe and stay spicy.